The college football experience, Colorado Buffaloes to the Big 12, back to the Big 12 episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, is brought to you by Patreon. Yes, our very own Patreon. Score exclusive perks and content available only to our patrons at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Once again, that is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Brock Purdy from Iowa State, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. Colorado Buffaloes back to the Big 12. You better believe I'm excited. As someone that's been rooting for the Colorado Buffaloes since about 1989,
hello,
I'm excited, and I am, maybe you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, but look, before I tell you that, I want to just sit there and play a certain song, Patty C. I think you know.
I think I know where we're going.
Well, first,
here.
I'll start with this.
It's Division I football. It's the Big 12. It ain't intramurals. You got 2 weeks after finals. You got a week at July 4th, and you got a week before camp starts. That's a month. That's probably more vacation than you guys get. And we're a little bummed out that we don't get 3 weeks. Go play intramurals, brother.
And then there's that's a classic one from the Big 12 era. That was Dan Hawkins, though, who kind of, look, I like Dan Hawkins, but that was kind of the beginning of the end. But how about this?
Look out, just watch him go. Down to Buffalo. Oh no, it's a guy on a Buffalo.
Well, it's funny you should point out, by the way,
What's that?
that Dan Hawkins was the beginning of the end, because the clip itself alludes to kind of the problem he was facing.
Well, yeah, well, and it only got worse as things went on. But look, perhaps you're wondering who the hell you're listening to. You're tuning in. You're a Buffs fan. Well, look, we are the college football experience, and my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink, and I don't have stress, and I'm healthy.
And we are home, buddy. A lot of people ask me as a Buffs fan, did you want to stay in the Pac-12? Did you want to go to the Big 12? And, you know, before I'd even know about the TV numbers or whatever, but I was kind of split because I said Pac-12 might give us an easier path once USC and UCLA leave. But at the end of the day, yes, I wanted them to the Big 12 because they're an original Big 7, Big 8, Big 12 team. All right.
Your heart's been with them in the Big 12 since they left.
Yeah.
You never wanted them to leave.
I want them play. Look, and I know people were, it's not the same Big 12. Not necessarily correct, because if you remember Texas, well, for Colorado fans, you know, I've heard other publications saying, well, like, it's not the same Big 12 that they were in. Well, first off, they were only in the Big 12 came in 1996. So from 1996 to 2005,
Texas and Texas A&M were Southwest Conference.
That's what I'm saying.
The fact that
Well,
they're gone,
Texas
like,
Tech and Baylor too. So it's like, no, the only one from the original Big 8 that are gone is Oklahoma and Nebraska.
Yeah.
All right. So you're getting all those old rivalries. Yeah. So I am all on board. Know your fucking history. If you're going to talk about it, I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi,
buddy. We're going to talk about the Buffs. I got to hit up my guy Mark Johnson, see if he can come on the show and talk about the excitement. I mean, and we should talk about this. we should talk just in general. Is this all Deion effect, Patty C? Because you look at what's happened. Has there ever been anything like this in college football where a team went 1-11, hired a coach, then brought in 60 transfers, sold out the spring game, sold out several games for the upcoming schedule, and then jumps to a new conference? I mean, that's a lot of
hype
in 1 year.
Yeah.
Like in one off season on a 1-11 team. But not only that, they changed their academic standards to let people in. It seems like
they signed with Nike, right?
With Nike, and it just seems like the momentum for Colorado to come back to what it was is there.
A crazy shift. I mean, in terms of a coach that is unproven, from a head coaching standpoint in major college football, to have this big of an influence and a momentum changing persona, this is a first time, I think. I mean, Nick Saban coming to Alabama was a huge
but they
thing.
weren't 1-11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. They won a national championship. Like what? Not that far before that. Right.
Yeah. I mean, they were still a blue blood.
Yeah. So like, I just don't know that I've ever seen this, but I'm also, so people don't know that Colorado essentially like started to take their academics a lot more seriously somewhere along the lines there. And they could not enter transfers. I feel sorry for Carl Durrell in a way because they couldn't get transfers in.
Well, that kind of probably goes hand in hand with being in the Pac-12,
But this is what I mean about the shift back.
That's the Big
that
12.
has me super excited is because
as a football fan,
I don't give a shit about the academics. You know what I mean? Like,
this
come on.
Isn't the research land grant research podcast?
I mean, look, I hope their academics are fantastic, and I hope we're smarter people. But at the same time, we love football
games.
and basketball, right? And that's why I'm excited about the move to the Big 12 because I think people don't realize, and I actually feel like when I listen to the other publications out there that are hitting on the same news that we're hitting on here, that it's a little. It's like they have short memories or they're super young or something. Because Patty C, did you know from 1965 to 2005, Colorado only had 12 losing seasons in general, 40 years of football, right?
Yeah.
And 5 of those were 5 and 6 seasons or 5 and 7 seasons.
Wow.
So they're just right there to winning seasons. Like this is a program that I think when doing things correct, look at the last time they lowered the standards or they didn't lower them, but I'm saying the last time we had lowered standards, they were winning a lot of football games.
Yeah.
And
in the 90s, they were one of the best teams in the country.
I'd say from like 85 to or 86 to 2004 or 5.
Yeah.
They were there almost every year.
In the mid 90s. They were for 4 or 5 years in a row at 11 win team. So
as a fan, I am delighted to see them, taking football serious again and to getting back to the Big 12. I love the Kansas State games. I love the Kansas games, the Iowa State games. What's up to the chat? I see Valvez in there. Hello. But yeah, I mean, this is the way it's supposed to be. And I also love the future, like as much as the Pac-12 is, I have no idea where they end up, but, or if they even exist, but I thought Brett Yormark was kind of cutting edge so far. And I like a lot of his strategies to making the conference more valuable. And I think he could, and I think Deion Sanders can help with that. But I also just believe in general that, I like the idea of playing those weekday games, stealing. I think Deion's going to draw a big number. I don't even know if Colorado will be on those weeknights. I think they might be on Saturday with a big number if he can recruit the way I think he can.
Well, yeah, and the way he has, and recruit within the transfer portal too.
Yeah,
that is proven so far to be. I mean, he's recruited great, but even more effectively through the portal.
Well, that's another thing to add into the. Have we ever seen a 1-win team? You go hire a coach. The coach gets them to lower their standards back to what they once were.
Yeah.
Right. They land the number 1 cornerback in the draft. In some public recruiting news, like one of the top recruits in the nation. Then and they get him to flip from Miami, but also the number 1 transfer get. And then they sell out the spring game.
Yeah.
I don't know that we'd never seen anything like that. That's my point.
Well, I'll tell you this, as a UVA fan myself, I know we're in the JMU hat, but as a lifelong UVA fan, Anthony Poindexter was one of the coaches I watched, or one of the players I watched as a kid, All-American safety. One of the most prominent names in Virginia football history, was interviewed for the job a couple years back and suggested to administration that they lower the academic standards, and was not given the job for that because why? He didn't have the clout. A guy like Deion Sanders does have the clout, so he can make those moves. And who knows how big of a thing that'll be in terms of getting talent in the door, because talent was never an issue for Colorado back in the 90s.
Yeah.
They were able to get it in.
And I think let's talk about that for a second, because, USC and UCLA are leaving, and whether they added San Diego State or not, California has always been a nice, even in the go back and look at the 2 years back to back, they went to the national championship, 89 and 90. A lot of guys from Colorado, but a lot from Houston, Texas, a lot from New Orleans. And one of the moves that makes sense to me, I still think they'll be able to get into California, because California guys go everywhere. Yeah. You look at like the whole SEC starting quarterbacks. They're all from California.
Yeah. Especially with the Pac-12 dissolving.
Yeah.
They won't have a strong hold on those players.
But Arizona and Nevada have gotten a lot better at football in high school levels.
Yeah.
I think that won't be an issue, even if they're not playing UNLV. You know what I mean? I think that's a slight advantage. But now you're playing. Deion is a legend in Texas.
Yeah.
You're telling me you get what? Houston, Texas Tech, Baylor, TCU, all in the state of Texas. Am I forgetting a fifth? I think that's all. Is that all the remaining Big 12 teams?
Houston, Texas Tech, Baylor, TCU, and then
that's
Texas,
it. Well, you get 4 games. Then you're going to have multiple games in Texas every year.
Yeah.
The Big 12 championships in Texas.
Yeah.
And then also, UCF is in Orlando. Deion Sanders is played at Florida State. He's from Florida.
Yeah.
So he's. I think this is a nice move as far as recruiting. To have to quote George W., to get the necessary recruitments to come into these states.
It's pretty incredible if he's. I mean, obviously, getting Travis Hunter and Cormani McClain out of Florida, he's got some pull there still. And like you said, going back down into Texas, played for the Cowboys. Won a Super Bowl there. Prime Academy, raised his sons playing football in Texas. So, he's got Texas ties. If he really can, just be playing those teams and pulling the top recruits out of Florida and Texas, getting to California, all of a sudden you got the trifecta working for you.
And I mean, why it made sense to me to jump to the Big 12, besides the historical rivalry factor and besides Brett Yormark's energy and what he's brought in from the ideas that he's brought in that I think I'm on board with, is you can recruit in Texas better. You're going to be able to recruit in Florida better. I even think you'll be able to recruit in Ohio better. I don't even know if he's going to go after Ohio, but the fact that Cincinnati's in Ohio,
he played for the Reds.
Yeah. So, I just think it's a no-brainer. Petty C, look, you are not a Buff fan, so I want your take.
I like the Buffs.
Yeah, but I grew up liking Colorado.
Yeah, they're not my favorite team at all.
So,
but I don't dislike them at all.
It was
I think they're cool.
If it was you, would you rather have them in the Big 12?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look,
it's better for college football. It's a win for college football.
Yeah. Colorado in the Big 12.
They had no history in the Pac-12.
They had no history, and they don't have the flavor of, I mean, even though like the school Boulder, is kind of Cal-ish, it's still not like, they're better when they're like associated with Texas. Got prime time wearing the cowboy hat.
Fantastic.
They're diving back into their, what would you call that? Southwest roots.
Yeah. Southwest or Midwest. I don't know. But either way, I'm excited. Look, we're going to talk more about it, but I want to tell you that the college football experience, Colorado Buffaloes to the Big 12 episode, is brought to you by Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon. Yes, do your part in the war against corporate gambling and sign up for the SGPN Patreon. There's a ton of exclusive content, contests, and merch just for our patrons, plus a monthly SGP Stories podcast, an ad-free, uncensored show highlighting the best stories from decades of being DGens. There's even a Discord channel for the patrons, so check it out. The Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon is a great way to score exclusive perks and support SGPN. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Patreon. That's SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Patreon. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, the NFL season is right around the corner, and Underdog Pick'em is a great way to get down on a ton of NFL player props, and it's available in a ton of different markets, even the states that don't have legalized gambling. Call in the Quarterback Sneak. Plus, there's plenty of opportunities to win in their daily MLB contest. And of course, make sure you enter the Best Ball Mania, where first place gets $3 million smackaroos, $3 million. Head on over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use that promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. All right, Patty. See, there's so many questions I want to talk about here with you. First,
related to the fallout or related to Colorado?
More so, the fallout and what the Big 12 is going to do. So, Yormark, I think, has from what people are reporting, they have a plan that they're not going to have a 13-team conference next year.
Right.
Because Colorado's coming in next year, folks. By the way, it's not like 2 years down the road. He wants 14 or 16. I think.
So a lot of these teams, though, they would have to give notification really soon in order for that to happen.
And I think that's the idea. Is we think there's going to be a lot of movement. So let me ask you this: if it's 14, if it's just one team, I kind of don't think it's going to come from the Pac-12. I think if it's one team, I think it's like UConn or Memphis or maybe UNLV or something. I don't know. Or,
SMU wouldn't get the invite. They're not.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But maybe Boise, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe San Diego State. I don't know. Maybe that's part of the plan. But if it's 3 teams, I'm assuming that's 3 Pac-12 teams, and it comes crumbling down, and that could happen any day.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what would you want, as a fan of college football and college basketball? What do you think is the best fit? I know Yormark says, well, let me present the cases for you. Do you think they could somehow, the Big Ten is basically saying they're not going to expand right now. So do you go for Oregon and Washington just for a few years, even though they might leave?
Yeah, I think if Oregon and Washington are at your disposal and, attainable, you definitely get them.
So that's out there. UConn is out there. UConn offers obviously 5 national championships in basketball over the past 25 years.
Yeah.
They made a bowl last year, and they seem to be throwing, taking football seriously by hiring Jim Mora.
They made an FBS bowl back in 20 what?
They played a BCS bowl.
Yeah,
BCS bowl against Oklahoma. They beat Notre Dame not that long ago, but they were complete ass for the past like 7 or 8 years before Jim Mora got there.
But there may be more potential in that football program than anyone really knows.
Yeah, I agree there. Then you have the Memphis Tigers, great basketball program. They played the national championship in 2008, maybe somewhere around there, 6.
Yeah,
somewhere around there. And they've had Penny Hardaway is their coach.
They'd be a great fit.
Yeah, and football program's been winning.
Tulane could be a geographic fit, and based on what they did in obviously winning the Cotton Bowl last year, that has to catch the eyeballs of.
I wonder though, does the academics hurt a little bit? And they're also not a great basketball program. Like they're all right.
I think
Ron Hunter's building it, but
it's just not out of it. It wouldn't be a complete misfit. I think they would do fine there.
Yeah, and
or it would make sense in a way.
Shout out to Random Media Show says we are on our way to 3 mega conferences. Perhaps that's what's interesting, Patty C. So making the case for Memphis and all those teams, and then you could throw even Boise or San Diego State and UNLV randomly just because of the market, even though their football team's been ass.
I would say one of the 3 Pac-12 programs, if you're only going to get one, is the one I would want.
Yeah,
Utah. I think if you can get Utah and put them in a division with BYU, or in the same conference as BYU, and bring Colorado, keep that rivalry that's been, I guess, growing for the past decade intact. Then, and it's still, geographically contiguous, as it were. That makes sense. It stretches the geography, not really, because BYU's in the conference. It keeps the geography. I don't know if it brings a market in, but in terms of competitive football, which we obviously prefer over market as fans, that would be my favorite, I think.
What is who?
Utah.
Okay. So if they get Utah, there's a chance. I would just assume the Pac-10 or the Pac whatever would fail. They would
not necessarily, because at that point they'd be, the Pac-10 without Utah or USC and UCLA. Because, I guess Arizona State would still be there. Cal, Stanford, Washington State, Oregon State. And then if you get San Diego State and maybe like UNLV or Hawaii or something, obviously it's not as good, but I don't think it necessarily means it fails, especially in a 12-team playoff where your conference champion is going to get in,
Yeah. Shout out to Noah in the chat. He's saying UConn has a brand new baseball stadium too. I don't look. I know that they've been good in baseball, but I don't think baseball drives the needle on any of this.
Probably not, but it can't hurt.
Yeah, because that it is a growing sport. But yeah,
more. I mean, for a conference like the ACC or the Pac-12, Olympic sports or all other sports are pretty darn important. Like Virginia, again,
but they're all in the red. We're having this shift
where money
in college athletics.
Now.
Yeah, where and that's where I think the potential here for them to really with Dion there. I know you could say, well, you can't base it because if he leaves, what will Colorado be? Well, what was Colorado before? Like I remember in the 90s, like the Colorado Nebraska was one of the most like televised games, one of the biggest games of the college football season. So I think things can change. I don't think it's just like, well, automatically because Alabama and look, the Iron Bowl will probably always be great.
Yeah.
The Michigan Ohio State game will always be great, but change has happened. We like Colorado Nebraska used to be a huge national game. Pitt West Virginia was a big game. I don't know if it was as well known nationally.
Sure.
Because there wasn't as much national championship implications on it, but
so you're saying things can change in what direction? What are you
for the TV ratings? If
to benefit who? The Big 12 or the Pac-12?
The Big 12. And knowing that the contract is up again in like I think 2030. I think.
Well, if they win, if they win and they can put a competitive product in the playoff, if they can do what TCU did this year and beat even the likes of Michigan in the semifinals, if they can get to the national championship, they will have eyeballs and that will grow. And I think they are capable of that with the teams they have.
With the teams they added.
Yeah, and with the teams they added. I think TCU is the same as every other program in the Big 12.
So if you had to bet on who's the other team or teams in the Big 12, I know this is a ridiculous question because it's hard.
Who the hell knows? Yeah, I would be surprised if Oregon, knowing that the Big 10 is kind of eyeballing them, pulls the trigger. And depending on what they sign on for, maybe the Big 12. I mean, from what I understand, the Pac-12 has no exit fee. Is that right? You are idiots.
No, well, the contract runs out this year.
Oh, okay. So that's what it is. I was about to say, like, don't protect yourself at all. Good call. No. Yeah. So, okay. So the contract's out. So, they're a free game. Oregon, I don't think it makes a ton of sense for them to go.
I could also see them going independent.
Yeah, I could see that. They have the money to keep that up. Who do I think it'll be? I don't know. I hope it's Utah.
I think it's probably UConn.
It's probably UConn. Yeah, it could be Memphis. Is there anyone else we're not bringing up?
I mean, they should consider Boise because Boise's good in basketball and football.
Yeah,
and I think it fits. I think let's shift it.
Colorado State. Could they bring them in with Colorado?
I think Colorado might block them.
Yeah. Colorado doesn't want that.
But that's what's interesting too is the Pac-12 side of it. In my opinion, the Pac-12 is in this problem because they're not proactive. That the Big 10, the Big 12 schools called them and wanted when it looked like the Big 12 was crumbling, they're like, hey, I think it was Texas Tech and Baylor and Oklahoma State. TCU were like, can we join? We want to.
The Pac-12 is guilty of the coastal elitism so bad. They are so snobby, even more than the ACC.
Yeah, they didn't want BYU for years because of the religious aspect, and now you're going to be a fucking nothing. You might not be. So right now, if I'm George Klavikov, people, I would be all over the fact of like, hey, we have to, like, I would go right now. San Diego State's in.
Yeah.
SMU's in. If they want to bitch about
Fresno.
this, I wouldn't even. If they want to bitch about this, because I think they wanted San Diego State, but apparently I heard that Oregon also didn't want San Diego State in.
Yeah.
And that's why they weren't in the by July 1st. That you don't have time to do this shit if you're in the Pac-12. Like you, if more teams get plucked, you're gone. You're nothing. If Arizona State, and Utah join. You're down to what, 6 teams? You're going to be the Pac-6?
Yeah.
Right? You got to jump right now to cover for that. So I think right now, SMU, San Diego State, if I was Klavikov, I would actually get to 14 in fear that you're going to lose more. Oregon and Washington are going to be gone one day.
Yeah.
So go to me,
and especially if you don't expand and add on a bunch, like more so than even like the pie being split up certain ways is just a viability long term, and you're not a viable conference, if you only have 9 teams. And so
right now I would go if I'm Klavikov. I'm not only getting San Diego State and SMU, and I know this will bring down the price for each school, but do you want to be in a fucking like Oregon State and Washington State should be on board no matter what. Cal Stanford too, right? So go get San Diego State. Go get SMU. That's 2. That goes to 11, right? I load up after that. I go for UNLV 12,
Boise
13. I go for a 14 school, and I think you punch back with Colorado State.
I like it.
I think you punch back with Colorado State because I don't think Utah wants Utah State in there, so you'll piss off Utah if you do Utah State.
Yeah,
Memphis is interesting.
You're right.
I know that's
Utah
far over
State's
there.
off the table. Yeah, Memphis is interesting. I think the Pac would probably if they're snobby enough to be, they were going to stay mainly geographic. So the fact that SMU is both a religious school and B not,
they don't have time to.
They don't have the luxury of it.
Yeah. That's what's so great about it in a way. Like as much as I honestly think I would be heartbroken if Oregon State and Washington State get really fucked by the situation because they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
But it is fucking hilarious if some of the like
that said, are Oregon State and Washington State any different of programs than any other Mountain West program?
Yes.
Wouldn't they be a perfect fit in the Mountain West?
No, they deserve to be a Power 5 though. To them considered to be Group of 5 to me. I
slap in their face.
Yeah,
it's below what they've accomplished.
Yeah. So like to me, like because let me ask you this: is there a difference between Oregon State and Mississippi State?
No, I think those are in the same conversation. So yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So why or Kansas State or how about Indiana? Why do Indiana and Rutgers get the benefit?
True.
And Oregon State and Washington State who've had good football programs,
better football programs. Certainly.
And good fans. I mean, flagship. Man, you watch like a fucking Rutgers game or a Indiana game. They don't like, to me, you watch a game of Corvallis.
That's
like
true.
It's awesome.
Yeah. There's no difference between Oregon State and Purdue. And yet Purdue's not in the conversation of losing Power 5 status.
Yeah. So
that would suck. I think San Diego State, where Fresno State doesn't have the big city name to it, San Diego State has, a national championship appearance like a couple months ago in basketball, a great football program over the last decade. That's a no-brainer. That's the biggest no-brainer.
Actually, Fresno's a no-brainer, but Cal or Stanford would probably block
that. Yeah. They need to get to 14 immediately, I think. And
the chat is saying, what about Rice to go with SMU? I don't think. Why would you go Rice? That's like their enrollment's like what? It's like Wake Forest. I would rather go like UTSA.
So bad.
I would rather go. I would rather go into San Antonio and be like, we're gonna get UTSA. But I don't know that.
Yeah,
they would even consider.
I mean, I feel like Pac-12 bite the bullet. UNLV and Nevada. Get them both. That's a state flagship and a big city school in your Pac-12 championships game is in Las Vegas right now. Do it. Elevate those programs. Help them recruiting, and all of a sudden, maybe they are legit programs.
Well, wait. If you're doing Nevada, you're talking about adding like
Nevada
7
and
teams.
Cal are the same team.
But you're talking about
5 years.
But you're saying you're adding a lot of different teams. Then,
I mean, if I was if it was me, San Diego State number 1, probably Nevada, and
you got to take SMU because of the talent.
Yeah, SMU.
Yeah,
and the money.
Yeah.
So
wait, if it's you, I want to hear this again. Go.
You want to probably those 4, and then I guess if you have to add a fifth, Boise. I think you go Boise, just in terms of the excellence of the program, geographic fit.
Hidden Hawaiian says they'll probably consider Tulane too because of academics. Yeah, Rice and Tulane offer academics. If they truly want to stay snobby, wouldn't that be hilarious?
That would be great.
If they just ignored UNLV. And just said, "Hey, we're going San Diego State because they want Southern California."
I would respect it.
And then Tulane. They don't do Boise because their academics aren't great. They go what? Tulane, Rice, SMU, San Diego State. But you need a 5th to make it 14.
They need to survive.
What's another academic school out there they could jump on?
Oh.
Temple. They're gonna put Temple in there. Yeah. I don't know, folks. It's gonna be fun. It's
I've heard also, other sidebar conversations. ACC, big or Pac-12 alliance. I know they had the alliance with the Big Ten before.
Deal? No, the Big Ten and the ACC was.
Yeah. Until the Big Ten stole their teams. That's when that alliance ended. Yeah. So maybe the ACC does the same thing. I could see a coastal super conference where both coasts are happening. That would be kind of fun. But look, I want the Pac-12 to survive. I think they're an important part of football. Obviously, they're kind of half dead with USC leaving, but You know, they could be like the Big 12. And then, like you said, things change. Say Oregon emerges into a true national champion quality team. All of a sudden, the Pac-12 has life. You know?
Yeah. I mean, Oregon State won 10 games last year.
Washington won preseason number 4 or something.
Utah goes every year, wins the fucking conference every year. All right, look, before we get out of here, what about the Mountain West? Let's assume San Diego State's gone.
Yeah.
UNLV's gone.
Maybe Nevada's gone.
I don't know. I don't even think they're considering Nevada. I think they're considering Colorado State.
Yeah.
And Boise.
Yeah.
If those 4 are gone.
Well, I think the answer is obvious.
They said they want to go into Texas, but they said they also have been looking at the FCS. Your answer is obvious: North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Montana, and Montana State.
Yeah,
just that simple.
Go. Come on, yeah, yes, that's simple.
They talked about potentially New Mexico State, UTEP. I saw this, on a sheet I had to fill out.
Good ones.
Yeah.
Good ones.
No
matter what,
Tulsa, little Tulsa action. Go for it.
Tulsa doesn't offer much.
Yeah, I think Montana State,
North Dakota State, South Dakota State.
That's
just our inner fan.
Just fucking perfect. No, because you still have Wyoming. At this Mountain West, it's just perfect.
Any of those teams, and like whatever that would be, CUSA probably. They
would be perfect.
That would add most value. Who would add most value to the Mountain West? That would be attainable.
You know who I think actually would? UTSA.
UTSA,
because San Antonio is right there. Yeah. That's a big enough city.
If they could sustain it. When did you say Jeff Traylor turned down?
He turned down some power jobs. I think it was Texas Tech he turned down. Yeah.
Wow.
What about UTEP? I know they don't have the football history, but El Paso's gigantic.
It's true. I mean, if you're just trying to fill spots and you want to get down into Texas, sure. Texas is going to be a saturated market though. Pretty soon.
Everyone's trying to get into Texas there. Yeah. That's why you got to zig when they zag. Go into the Dakotas, baby.
That's right.
All right. Look, I would love it. North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Montana State. Those 4, Wyoming 5, Nevada 6, Utah State 7, Air Force 8. You still have a Colorado footprint there. New Mexico 9. Who the fuck am I forgetting? Is that it? No, there would have to be. Who am I forgetting right now?
I have no idea.
Okay.
You just said a bunch of names. I was thinking about. Let me ask you a question here.
Let's get to Mexico State.
How many years till Deion Sanders wins a Big 12 championship game? 3, 4, 5.
TCU's playing at a great level. I mean, Kansas.
Kansas State.
I mean, should we talk about the coaches there? Oh yeah, Hawaii was who I'm forgetting.
I want Hawaii in the Pac-12 too. Let's be honest.
Look, I want Hawaii to take football more serious. I love fucking Hawaii football.
Yeah,
that's like
growing
up. That's
Scratch
like my
Boise.
favorite. Yeah,
give me Hawaii, San Diego State. They give me the little like tropical like pairing there, and then give me the
university
Silver State
needs
teams.
to take Hawaii more seriously, like for football. They need to throw more money into.
There's
football.
enough talent out there that if you gave them a huge amount of influx of money and
Hawaii
the
should
prestige
be
of a Power 5.
They don't have a pro team there. That should be everything. They need to get that stupid game off Spectrum where they pay like $100 for a game.
The entire western third of the United States relies super heavily on Polynesian talent.
Yeah.
Like, just put a fence around Hawaii. You are the best team in the country.
Hidden Hawaiian in the chat says Hawaii adds another time zone too. Your Mark. What are you doing? You want the time zones? Go get Hawaii, baby.
It may be the only piece of land in 3,000 square miles. But
it's chestnut
it is
checkers.
A time zone.
It's chestnut checkers. Let's go. No, I would really love it. Growing up, man, Hawaii, easily one of my favorite football teams.
Yeah,
they need to. Cool. They need. I don't think they realize on the island how much the rest of the country loves them.
Yeah, maybe they do, but everyone loves Hawaii.
Well, no, I'm not talking about from a vacation destination.
Right.
Actually, that's probably the annoying part.
Right.
That's what they hate. They're like, why does the rest of the country, why does America, just the rest of America want to get there and
ruin our country,
be a bunch of tourist assholes? I'm talking about from a football perspective.
Yeah, they're lovable from a football and great uniforms. Let's be honest.
But dude, tell me that wouldn't be fun in the Mountain West with them. If the Dakotas had to go to Hawaii too, keep them in there as that 10th
or Hawaii
team.
having to go to the Dakotas. Yikes!
Perfect, folks. Subscribe to the College Football Experience. We're going to break down all this news as it comes to us because realignment is always crazy. And look, but I'm excited. I'm excited as a Buff fan, and I think winning days are coming. And I'm excited to see us playing all the old school Big 8 teams and even some of the Big 12 teams, I guess I didn't know this, but Colorado and BYU were in a conference a long, long time ago.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I forget the name of the conference, but I retweeted it the other day.
That's an old, the original Mountain Blizzard.
So that's back.
Rivalry.
So
or
that's
whatever
back.
It is. Yeah.
But so I guess out of the new 4 teams, that would be the one that I want to see most.
BYU, Colorado.
And I also think those are 2 of the best stadiums in all of college football.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun.
So I can't wait, folks. We will break it down as whatever news comes out. We'll be here to talk about it, and we got you covered on the college football experience as we're breaking down all 133 college football teams with a solo podcast for each and every team in the land. Subscribe, check it out. We're already on the letter M. We're deep into M. Actually, no, we're on N. We're deep into N. So go check out those episodes. Subscribe to the FCS college football experience too that we cover. And remember, in about 16 minutes, we're going to be going live with our Conference USA preview.
Hello.
Looking at the brand new Conference USA. Speaking of conference realignment and a lot of weekday games there. So until then, check us out. Like I said, 16 minutes. We are on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. Subscribe, tell a friend, and our podcast can be found wherever podcasts can be found. So iTunes, Spotify, all that good shit. Give us a 5-star review. Patty C's on Twitter at Patty C831. I'm on Twitter at DColbyD. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Subscribe, tell a friend. Can't wait for the season to kick. Week 1 now. Colorado at TCU. Big 12.
Boom.
Future Big 12 teams. Let's go. This is the College Football Experience, Colorado Buffalo style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Look out.